With us now, economic strategist Francis Stacy, economist for the American Institute for Economic Research, Dr. Ryan M. Yonk, and CEO of Mason Burrow Strategies, and Republican strategist Luke Ball. Welcome to all of you. Francis, I'm going to start with you here. I want to reference what we just heard White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt say, that the concern is that the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, is focused more on politics than he is on making the American economy the best it can possibly be. Do you think that's part of the problem here?
I don't know. I'm not inside of his head, but I can tell you what Trump wants. Initially, when the market started selling off, Trump was hoping that that would liquefy the bond market, create demand in the bond market. But what happened is part of the trade war was foreign entities, particularly Japan, started selling U.S. treasuries. When they started doing that, that was spiking, that caused rates to spike as the market was selling off. And then that could cause potential liquidity issues and other economic issues, which that forced President Trump to, maybe he had plans prior, I don't know, but that's when he backed off for 90 days. So what's now happening is that didn't quite work out as planned. And now he wants Jay Powell to lower rates. Jay Powell should have more influence over the markets than the foreign holdings of treasuries. And so he wants them to lower rates. Initially, he wanted traders to bypass Jay Powell, and now he wants Jay Powell to bypass and remove that leverage of foreign countries selling treasuries to spike rates. And then that makes the debt service for American citizens and also the federal government better with lower rates.
Look, let's talk about China, the fact that they're saying to other nations around the world, do not make a deal with the United States or you will face retaliation from us. That seems like maybe they're a little worried about their industries fleeing to other places, including the United States.
Yeah, I'll take the political position here and leave it to my two economic friends to discuss the specifics of the economic policy. So from my perspective, as I look at President Trump, he is concerned about our national security. Imagine if we were totally cut off from China because, God forbid, we ever got into a conflict or spiked World War III. If that were the case, we would not have the infrastructure here at home to compete nationally or be able to have the national security and national defense that a nation should have. Remember what happened during COVID. Not only did we have our drugs coming from China, we had our personal protection equipment coming from China. They also, under the Biden administration, did not honor their commitment to buy hundreds of millions of United States exports, and that was after the COVID-19 virus spiked. I will say this. Economist Larry Kudlow put it well. Whenever we had these tariffs go into place, the world did not line up at China's doorstep. It lined up at the United States doorstep to start making deals with the United States. So as we look to this policy here, remember the economic and national security side of this. So Trump has a little bit of political capital to use, but he is not dumb when it comes to tariffs. He recognizes that if this is prolonged too long, if it doesn't go the way things are going to happen, he might have some political capital to pay in the midterms. So expect him to try to make a deal that's in the best interest of the American people, but it's something that I don't think will extend for beyond maybe a year and a half.
A year and a half, I'm sure to some people sounds quite long, Doctor. Your thoughts on that? And also, we did learn today in that White House press briefing that 18 trade proposals have been brought to the U.S. trade team by other countries. And also there was discussion of other international companies agreeing to work and set up shop here in the United States, leading to additional jobs. Do you think that is a big step in the right direction or just a little bit less than what we need right now?
Well, I think it's far less than what we need right now, partly because the actions of China with respect to pushing back on others that are making deals with the United States is not a surprise. It's what happens when you start to engage in the tit-for-tat version of tariff making that we call reciprocal tariffs today. And the reality is those tariffs have real costs, and they have real impacts both on the U.S. and on China. And it's not at all surprising that China is responding very much in the same way the U.S. said it would respond if nations escalated their own tariffs with us. And so I think the reality of this is that taking a step back and looking at how we can return to something closer to an open market, dealing with whatever trade issues might happen through a regular order, will put us much farther down the road of a successful manufacturing industry in the United States and make it more likely that these deals that are being negotiated, we don't know a lot about them, might actually come to fruition and result in freer markets. But at the end, tariffs end up costing both the country that puts them in place and their trading partners.
Francis, your thoughts on China?
Look, you've got to change the trajectory that we've been on for so long. If a company gets to 500 million or 5 million in sales, China uses the molds that company provided them and the American intellectual property to then overnight make the same exact product and sell it for 30 to 40% less to their consumers. They are so unethical when it comes to our intellectual property. And that is one trajectory that absolutely has to change. And I know some people are hurting in the short term and there is disruption in the short term. But I do think with Trump having American consumerism 30%, he has enough leverage. The Chinese manufacturing has been halted, and it's a game of chicken, and they're going to capitulate.
A lot of deals.
It's a real gamble.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
We'll see how it goes, though. Let's give it some time here. Francis, Ryan, Dr. Yonk, we appreciate it. Luke, you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.